Hello, Ayn.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Hope you're well today. And hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of my chat, my online chat series called Eventprofs Together at Home. And today I'm chatting with Ayn, who actually I've known for quite a while now, but strictly on social media. And we were just having a chat on how crazy it is that this is the first time we're actually physically speaking to each other via Zoom, of course. But we've never actually physically met. But I feel like we've known each other for a long time. We correspond a lot on Instagram and Twitter, as well as on LinkedIn. And now I'm going to hand it over to Ayn to give us a little introduction to who she is, what she does, where she is based, her situation at the moment, which I believe is lockdown. And yeah, over to you, Ayn.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's so much fun to do this actually in this crazy situation. So I'm Ayn and I work at Penguin Connect, which is part of Penguin Random House. And what I do is I'm an events program manager there. And we work on business-to-business events, so connecting our authors and books with the different audiences. So it's quite an interesting position. But obviously, as everyone else in the events industry, we've had to adapt to this new way of doing things. And yes, you're correct, we are on lockdown and here as well.
Yep.
So this is week 3 that we are week 2 of lockdown and week 3 of sort of self-isolation.
Okay.
And I am isolating with my partner, although he's a key worker, so he actually is out of the house a lot. And this is my little office space. You can see like a temporary bookshelf over there.
Yeah.
I've just moved flats, so yeah, it's all a bit still like in progress. And yeah, and I'm actually based just outside London.
Oh, okay, perfect. All right, thank you for that. And so I can see you have your own office, which is great. And um, how have you kind of been structuring yourself? Are you still following your regular sort of working hours, or are you kind of working as and when you need to, or how is it right now for you?
Yeah, so it's interesting because I have worked from home in the past, but it does seem to be just different. I think it's just like such an odd situation. So I have been trying to stick to my sort of like usually is 9 to 5. But sometimes, you know, like you might be starting the day a little bit earlier because obviously I don't commute anymore. I don't have to take the train to go to work.
Yep.
So I'm earlier, you know, just like starting off a bit earlier. And sometimes equally you might finish a little bit later if you have, I don't know, like a Zoom call that runs over, or like in my company we're doing some socials, just to kind of like keep in touch. So that sometimes is, you know, it takes a little bit longer. I think for me it's just like very important to like stay flexible, and it's quite nice that, you know, my team feels the same. So, you know, it kind of like depends, but it's also just keep in mind that you're always in the house.
Yeah.
And then at some point you have to stop working because you can't just
Yeah, you can't get carried away with that. I mean, I have my husband and my son to remind me to get out of my office, and they do that quite regularly now. But I can imagine if you don't have that in your environment, then you know, or when they weren't at home all the time, I was literally not leaving my desk or my computer, and you kind of just zone out and you're just like in the zone. So yeah, absolutely. And so what are your 3 daily essentials right now in this situation?
I have recently found out, so we ran out of coffee. This is like a bit of a funny one, but
Okay.
we ran out of coffee and I realized that I really can't function with coffee. So I now will never run out of coffee again, because that's definitely something that it kind of grounds me. It's not just the caffeine that keeps me going, but it's just like the ritual of getting up in the morning and making myself a really nice cup of coffee before I sit at my desk.
Yeah.
So that's definitely my essential number 1. Then my essential number 2 is not like a physical thing, but it's just making sure that I always have at least one call, whether it's a video call or like just a normal regular call.
Yep.
With some, because what I found out is that I'm an extrovert and I need to chat.
Yep.
And if I don't have at least one chat a day, I'm just like, oh, this is really long.
I love that.
Oh, I just honestly. So that's my second essential.
Yep.
And then third essential is, and I would have to say that, but I'm going to explain why having a book, always having a book.
Yeah.
And for me, it's obviously I work in publishing, so we read a lot all the time. But right now I've noticed that we spend so much time on screens, a lot longer than before.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, even talking to family is going to be screen time somehow.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, so I quite like having, yes, just something that isn't a screen. Exactly, that I can just like almost like rest my eyes and just like do something different.
Okay. And have you come to sort of any kind of realizations of your habits, or anything sort of has become quite pronounced in this time that you've spent, at home?
Yeah, well, definitely the fact that I need like and it's almost like I have to spend all my energy to have any energy at all, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
And if I feel like you get me.
Yeah, yeah. I think we're very similar on that regard.
Yeah, and you have to keep busy, and you have to have like lots of things going on. And I didn't think that, because I guess I was so busy with events, and London is quite hectic as a place to work in.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that obviously that was keeping me, quite entertained, I guess. And now it's like, oh, okay, so there's no commuting, there's no going out, there's no seeing people, and so that's just definitely.
It's interesting you say that, because it's almost like you get so caught up in the noise of things. This was interesting, and it was I was speaking to my brother that day, and he works also in London, and he was saying he did his first day or first week of working from home, and he worked 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. straight, and it was purely because he was call to call to call to call to call. But usually when he's in his office in London, or he's commuting somewhere, or he's going from one meeting to another, there's all these loopholes of space, like he's like, oh, I'm walking from here to there, you can give me a call at this time, or I'm doing this from here to there. You're effectively doing about 10 to 15,000 steps a day that you unconsciously do, and you're not thinking about it. And all of a sudden in this situation, it goes to zero, and you then become very aware of it, and you're like, oh, that's, and, and then you're just like, I need to change these things because I'm used to these things, and that's what I need.
Definitely. I think yeah, it's been crazy. So I don't wear a Fitbit, so I actually don't know how many steps I would have taken when I was commuting into London, but I bet it's definitely not the same right now, because I'm only going from my bedroom to the kitchen to the office. So that's
you might have to do a couple more rounds to get to that level. So what are you doing, I guess, on that note, from a wellness perspective, both mentally and physically?
Yeah, that's it. It's a really good question. It just kind of like makes me think about whether I should be doing more, first of all. From a mental point of view, I think for me, what has been really important is to just kind of like stay positive.
Yeah.
And I'm very aware when I say that, because I feel like when you say that you're like a quite positive person, people sometimes perceive you as, oh, you're always like happy and everything is always great for you. And that's, exactly. It's not quite like that. But just kind of remind myself of the things that maybe I didn't like from the way things were before. So for example, commuting for me was just like a nightmare.
Yeah.
I really did not enjoy having to take trains and getting into London. It was stressful. And so now that I don't have to do that, I'm kind of trying to focus on that, because I'm like, well, I've got a lot more time in my day.
Yeah.
And I'm less tired and I'm less stressed. So picking some things that I can focus on that are quite positive, that has been really helpful.
So picking sort of little things that you can now see as a positive compared to before. It's interesting. I didn't think about that, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And physically, what are you doing?
Well, I don't run and I don't do anything specific. I'm not like a really sportsy person. And I know I've got like lots of people that I know that are quite like into moving their bodies. So I've been trying to do basically whatever I feel like doing on the day. So it could be, there's like lots of things online. So lots of yoga sessions or like workouts. I have been limiting obviously the time that I go outside for obvious reasons, but when I do, I try to take a little walk, maybe when there is a bit of sunshine, because that's quite nice, get some fresh air. And yeah, definitely, yeah, it's helped, but I feel like there's probably more that I could be doing from
Well, you know, we're in it for the long haul, so you know, you'll kind of figure out what it is that you enjoy doing, and probably end up doing more of it, I imagine. So can you give us any recommendations in this time of anything that you're watching, anything you're reading? Obviously you're a big reader. Is there any particular platform, or you know, celebrities or whatever the case is, that's kind of bringing you some joy on your day to day because they, you know, they're putting on a show or whatever the case is?
Yeah, so I have been, I do read a lot, and I have to say it has been like great to have more time to do that. And I think, you know, if anyone has got a pile of books that you've been thinking, oh my God, I must read them, please, now is the time, guys. We have no excuses anymore. And I think in terms of platforms, I really love the way Instagram has kind of like come together. I think there's like lots of people offering, you know, sessions on like, you know, coaching and mental health and workouts and things like that. So I'm definitely kind of like, yes, seeing some people doing that, which is really interesting. But I also love to follow just how everyone else, like normal people like us, are just dealing with stuff. Because I find that's like probably what inspires me the most. For me has been like, I don't know, asking questions to like, you know, the communities that we've created, and see how everything is like doing things and dealing with things. It's quite interesting.
Well, like, because also it's real. It's real people and their real stories of the situation right now, and it doesn't get more authentic than that, right? So
yeah, and I think we need that, and I think it's a nice time to connect and get inspired by like everyday things. I mean, obviously there's like lots of, you know, there's lots of celebrities and influencers. They're doing like lots of interesting things. I have to say, so I'm Italian, and I've been really enjoying following all the sing-alongs that have been going on in Italy. That has been definitely a highlight. But yeah, there's just like
amazing things in Italy. It's been so amazing to see, and they're motivating other people and other artists in other countries to do it, which I think is so fantastic as well, you know. So that's been really cool. Yeah. So now, as you said, you know, we are, for lack of a better word, we are being assaulted with content in all its forms, right? Which is positive and negative in terms of news or whatever the case is. People are online a lot now, and for different reasons, and, you know, to communicate and whatever. So, I mean, I guess this is an answer I probably already know, but how are you practicing digital detox?
That's an interesting question. I thought, until very recently, I thought that we should all take some time off and kind of like switch everything off for a while, like whether it be like a day a week or something like that. And then I realized that the only times that I actually needed to do that was when I was spending time on social media for work, or to do something that wasn't really me, that I didn't really feel like doing. It was just, I don't know, create some content that perhaps didn't really fit into the things that I actually am passionate about. So once I realized that, now I'm kind of like, I don't need a digital detox because I actually want to be connected with people.
Okay, I like that.
And so yeah, so